Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. As Dean of the Faculty of Medicine of the University of Geneva, and on behalf of the University of Geneva, it's my great pleasure to welcome you to this event tonight. We have the extraordinary privilege to have Dr. Margaret Chan with us tonight. Margaret Chan is the Dean of the Vanke School of Public Health at Tsinghua University in Beijing in China. And as all of you know, she's also the former Director General of the World Health Organization. Both these institutions have strong ties with the University of Geneva, and it is therefore very appropriate that we have this event here at Campus Biotech, where the academia meets the International Geneva and also hosts the Institute of Global Health of the University of Geneva. Our relationship with WHO is manifold, including, I think, 6 or now 7 collaborating centers from the Geneva University Hospitals and Geneva University, but also many other programs and collaborations that are ongoing in various domains. In public health, Professor Antoine Flao, who's the director of the Institute of Global Health, has developed an amazing network worldwide, and also has been pioneering the domains of precision global health and planetary health. And I think that the event tonight is going to be also a tribute to this vision of how we can evolve public health to encompass the challenges that our planet is facing and the many challenges that we're still facing trying to provide health for all. The conference will be followed, and I really like this idea, by an exchange between students from Geneva University and from Tsinghua University. And this is maybe the time to also acknowledge the work that has been led by Professor François Gray, who's in the room, and who's been leading and developing this long-term relationship that we've been having with Tsinghua University, with multiple exchanges, summer schools, and very productive collaborations in the field, in particular, of sustainable development goals. And Professor Gray is leading our SDG solution space just a few tens of meters across here at Campus Biotech. I would also like to acknowledge the presence and the participation of Professor Ilona Kickbush, who recently, well, a year ago, joined our faculty, and we are very proud to have you part of the faculty of the University of Geneva. And I want to acknowledge also your work, which I think is really pioneering in the field of digital health, with the direction of the digital transformation of health laboratory that you're leading here at the University of Geneva, based also at Campus Biotech. So I would just like to say this is just, many things coming together and an event that I'm sure is going to be full of teaching for us, full of reflections on common goods. And I really like the idea of common goods because they provide 2 ways of looking at common goods. One is this idea that we have a shared and beneficial thing that most of our community, and when we talk about this community, it's the whole planet, humankind, and the planet is sharing. But it's also the idea that we together can collectively act towards a better planet, better access to health. And I think with this, I'd like to thank you all for attending, and without further ado, leave the floor to Professor Antoine Flao, Director of the Institute of Global Health. Welcome to Campus Biotech. Thank you.
Thank you, Dean Antoine Gesbeler, for your kind words. Really, I would like to introduce Margaret Chan today, but it's almost not needed to introduce someone who has lived in Geneva, worked in Geneva for so long. So Margaret Chan, as it has been said, is the founding dean of the Vanke School of Public Health in Tsinghua University in Beijing, in China. She is from the People's Republic of China, and she obtained her medical degree from the University of Western Ontario in Canada. She joined the Hong Kong Department of Health in 1978, where her career in public health began. In 1994, Dr. Chan was appointed Director of Health of Hong Kong. She was the first woman to hold that position. She stayed 9 years as director, and she was very dynamic. She launched new services to prevent the spread of disease and promote better health. She also introduced new initiatives to improve communicable disease surveillance and response, enhanced training for public health professionals, and established better local and international collaboration. She has, in her term, to effectively manage outbreaks of avian influenza and severe acute respiratory syndrome, SARS, which was the first coronavirus. In 2003, Dr. Chan came to Geneva and joined WHO as the director of the Department for Protection of the Human Environment. So we are going to the One Health and planetary health here. In June 2005, she was appointed Director of Communicable Disease Surveillance and Response, as well as representative of the Director General for Pandemic Influenza. In September 2005, she was named Assistant Director General for Communicable Disease. Dr. Chan was elected to the post of Director General on the 9th of November 2006. The Assembly appointed Dr. Chan for a second 5-year term in its 65th session, that was in May 2012. Dr. Chan last term began on 2012, 1st of July, and ended on June 30th, 2017. And on the 2nd of April 2020, Dr. Chan was appointed as the first dean of the Vanke School of Public Health in Tsinghua University in China. And we were so happy because we had a lot of links with Tsinghua University in China already set up, and it was easy and natural to implement a collaboration with Margaret Chan and her School of Public Health. Together, and with Mitchell Williams from the deans of the Harvard School of Public Health, and also with the Dean of Singapore, we created the Global Coalition of Deans of the Schools of Public Health. And I am here also as the Dean of the Swiss School of Public Health in Zurich, and the Director of the Institute of Global Health in Geneva. You know, probably Margaret Chan was one of the first to create the word One Health. She created, when she was the Director General of WHO, the tripartite alliance to foster not only with WHO, but also with the World Health Organizations of Animal Health, and also with the FAO, for Food and Agriculture Organization at the UN. She created this alliance to promote a One Health approach which breaks the silos and which tried to work together. And after it became, after when she left, it became a quadripartite alliance, so it grew again. So One Health, One Planet, our common goods. We are eager to hear you, Margaret Chan, and we are so grateful that you came in our university to talk with our students and with our colleagues. Thank you very much, Margaret.
Very good evening to all of you. Let me first and foremost do the formality, okay? Honorable Professor Anton Gisbola, and of course my good friend Anton Fra, and my old friend, Professor Ilona Kickbush. Friends, new and old friends, students of Geneva University and the Tsinghua University, ladies and gentlemen, a very good day to all of you. I want to first and foremost thank Anton for the invitation to the University of Geneva to talk about one planet, one health, our common good. It is to me a privilege and an honor. Geneva is a place I call home for 15 years. I came here in 2003, and I left Geneva, you heard from Anton. So Geneva is a place I call home for 15 years. One cherished memory I hold close is the sight of my friends heading for skiing. Their faces aglow with excitement, the world around them painted in a pristine blanket of white. Yet, this year paints a different picture. The familiar white landscape has become sparse, and the thrill of skiing is replaced by a visible absence of snow. This, ladies and gentlemen, my friends, is climate change, a silent yet relentless enemy reshaping the city and the world we all love. This is a reflection of a broader global shift from the dwindling expanses of the Amazon rainforest and the melting Siberian permafrost to the receding snow cover of the Tibetan plateau and the vanishing ice sheets in West Antarctica. Let me remind you, these aren't isolated incidents. They are interconnected signs of our Earth's transformation. As of 2023, we have surpassed 9 out of the 14 tipping points of our Earth system, changes that are irreversible, leading to abrupt shifts in our environment. Climate change, as I have said many times, is the defining issue of the 21st century. Climate variables affect the air we all breathe in, the water we drink, the food we eat, and even where we are able to live. Extreme weather events are becoming the norm, and records are constantly being broken. The evidence is in the extremes. This summer, let me give you an example. Beijing, the city I know better, suffered from record-breaking heat waves. Then, Beijing again was inundated by the heaviest rainfalls in 140 years. Let me give you an example. Another example, Hawaii. It is known for its beauty. Now it is scarred by wildfires that ravage Maury. Florida's ocean temperature reaches a staggering 38 degrees. Right here in Geneva, the World Meteorological Organization delivers sober news of the hottest June ever recorded. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres commented, "The era of global warming has ended. The era of global boiling has arrived." Well, let's reflect on that, ladies and gentlemen. Grand challenges require grand actions. In the historic 2015 Paris Agreement on Climate Change, countries make important commitments to cut greenhouse gas emissions and scale up adaptation to climate change. Of course, energy transition, switching from fossil fuels to renewable energy are just a part of the solution. We also need immediate action, I say, and call for green development. Grand challenges also require grand mindset. The Paris Agreement is not just a treaty for saving the planet from severe and to me, that is difficult to say, irreversible damages. It is also a significant public health treaty with a huge potential to save lives worldwide. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a vocal reminder that we need to embrace the idea that we share this planet, our only home. Our well-being, our very existence is tightly woven with the health of the earth. Now, since I'm in Geneva, let's turn our gaze towards one of Geneva's own, the illustrious Jean-Jacques Rousseau. Born and nurtured in the heart of this very city, Rousseau penned profound insights on the delicate relationship between humanity and nature. He once remarked, I cannot pretend I'm a man, but I'm a woman, but let me quote him. He said, "Nature never deceives us. It is we who deceives ourselves." His writing underscored the idea that humans, along with the animals and plants around us, and the environment that nurtures us, are part of a singular, interconnected web. If we travel east to ancient China, we encounter towering philosophers like Confucius and Mencius. They championed the idea of, in Chinese we say, 天人合一, which translates to heaven and man as one. Their teachings mirror Rousseau's sentiment, proclaiming that humanity and the cosmos are bound by a shared destiny. These age-old wisdoms present the first layer of our understanding. Why did I say the first layer of our understanding? We need to understand this in order to address our contemporary challenges. So, in conclusion, the current climate crisis is a warning message from nature. It reminds us not to forget that the fate of every creature, our shared environments, and the state of our planet are deeply and profoundly connected. Here lies the key to understanding and ultimately overcoming the grand challenges before us, and that is, ladies and gentlemen, climate change. Today, I stand before you to discuss a principle deeply rooted in our shared existence on this planet: One Health. Our lives are inextricably linked with the vast nature around us. Because of this linkage, my English is actually not as good as I was a DG. Because of this linkage, diseases do not recognize boundaries. They seamlessly transmit from animals to humans and from one city to another with rapidity and with ease, as we have seen in the COVID-19 pandemic. Ladies and gentlemen, about 500 years ago, in 1542, John Calvin offered comfort and care to plague-infested homes in Geneva. This was an era of darkness, a time of great despair, with the menacing shadow of the plague hanging over humanity. John Calvin's courage, his selflessness in the face of such adversity, stand as a beacon of hope. It was at a time when the knowledge about plague was limited. Our fight against this fearsome disease, which continued for centuries until 1894, when Alexander Yersin, son of Albany, Switzerland, unraveled the mystery. Where? In my hometown, Hong Kong. He discovered Yersinia pestis, the bacterium responsible for the plague, which is, of course, playing a pivotal role in the transmission of Yersinia pestis. Infected fleas bite humans after feeding on infected rats, spreading the disease. This discovery is a stark reminder. It is important for us to rethink disease spreading from the perspective of One Health. The One Health approach, as Anton has referred to, is an integrated, multi-sectoral approach to not only to tackle health threats. The One Health is certainly not new. Not today, anyways. And in recent years, it has become more important due to the changes in the dynamics of people, animals, and the environment. It is particularly important to prevent, predict, detect, and respond to global threats of new and re-emerging diseases with pandemic potential. Majority of new pathogens are caused by diseases of animals that spread to humans, such as, many of you know, flu, rabies, SARS, and COVID-19. This is especially an issue in the context of climate change. Why? Because climate change is a threat multiplier. Existing threats can be spread to new geographical area. Let me give you some examples. The emergence of Nipah virus and hantavirus as human pathogens has been traced to extreme weather events that force animal hosts, I said animal hosts, to leave their ecological niches and invade human settlements. To further underscore the urgency of this matter, consider this. 60% of the emerging infectious diseases originated from animals. In the past 30 years, I'm 76, so I was there. In the past 30 years, of the 30 new human pathogens identified, an astonishing 75% have been traced back to animals. The message is loud and clear. We need to adopt the One Health approach, recognizing and respecting the symbiotic relationship between humans, animals, and our shared environment. Ladies and gentlemen, when we speak of One Health, we often delve into the deep interconnections between humans, animals, and the ecosystem. Yet, at the core of this idea lies another profound truth, the essence of not distinguishing one human from another. Regardless of our diverse backgrounds, culture, and beliefs, we are all Homo sapiens. It is high time we adopt a holistic perspective looking at humanity as one cohesive unit. Right here in the heart of Geneva, walked a man named Henry Doan. I don't know whether my pronunciation is correct. Henry Dunant. He once stood at the chilling aftermath of the Battle of Solferino. This tragic sight instilled in him a universal vision. For him, this wasn't just a vision on paper. Geneva, our beloved city, became the birthplace of the Geneva Convention, ensuring that compassion this is another word I cannot say, transcended boundaries, and every wounded individual, regardless of their nationality, was treated with humanity. From his insights emerged the International Committee of the Red Cross. What are his ethos? A world that cares collectively and not selectively. This notion of universal empathy is not unique to Europe. In ancient China, Confucius envisioned a great unity in a society where the marginalized, the widowed, the orphaned, and the diseased found refuge. A society where peace prevailed and no one was left behind. An ethos remarkably resonates with Dunant's. The principles of universal empathy resonate with the ethos of universal health coverage. It is not just a service. It is a commitment to equity, to the marginalized, and to ensure that progress benefits all of us. It is a foundational criteria for sustainable development, and it embodies the pledges to leave no one behind. as the esteemed Nobel laureate Margaret Chan rightly termed, universal health coverage is, let me quote him, affordable dream. All countries at any stages of development could take immediate action to move towards universal health coverage. However, confronting us is a staggering statistics. If I tell you, nearly 2 billion people are deprived of basic medicines, rendering them isolated from the transformative strides in medical science. When I was working in WHO, I used to remember in African countries, it takes an average of 10 or more years for them to benefit from the research and development coming from the medical science. Good health, to me, is an illusion without comprehensive access to medicine and vaccines that are affordable, safe, effective, and quality assured to everyone. No individual should be deprived of life-saving health interventions due to unjust barriers, be they political, social, or societal. Health, let me say this again, health is a human right. Therefore, universal health coverage is more than a philosophical approach. It is a big call urging us to take action to address health inequalities. Let me thank the Swiss government, not only for being an international city in Geneva, and the government of Geneva, well, I have to say I live in Geneva for 15 years. I still find it a bit dicey for me to distinguish the various levels of governments. But anyways, you know what I mean. I appreciate the Swiss government for hosting so many international organizations, partnerships, and UN organizations in Geneva. In my opinion, in addition to being an international city, Geneva is a beacon for global collaboration. It is the capital of global health. I used to say that. Similarly, the journey towards a COVID-19 vaccine also manifests the potential of collaboration. WHO, together with Gavi, the World Bank, and many other partners, launched a partnership. And the partnership is called Access to COVID-19 Tools Accelerator. It is a coordinated global effort to accelerate development, production, and equitable access to COVID-19 tests, treatments, and vaccines. And of course, China also pledges to donate at least 2.2 billion doses of COVID-19 vaccine as a global public good. This is the glory of collaboration in the shadow of uncertainty. Let this be our last lesson from COVID-19. That when humanity unites, challenges of another word, see, my English has deteriorated. Challenges of monumental proportions can be surmounted. Let's enshrine collaboration as our guiding star, ensuring that public health remains a testament to what we can achieve together. Ladies and gentlemen, the principle of one planet and one health is not simply about addressing health challenges, but recognizing the profound power of collaboration. We must foster partnerships that transcend the discipline, backgrounds, and nationalities. Let us all celebrate the splendid beauty of Lake Geneva. Its tranquil waters reflecting the blue sky. Well, it's raining today, so you don't see the blue sky, but I'm sure in about 2 days' time, you would be able to see the beauty of Lake Geneva. And Lake Geneva is surrounded by majestic mountains, creating what I call a harmonious blend of nature's wonders. The Rhone River and the Drams River, each distinct in its origin, converges and contributes to the beauty of Lake Geneva. This, dear audience, serves as a metaphor for the collaboration I envisioned between our two universities. I'm very happy that our two universities have a very strong foundation of collaboration, much like the two rivers contributing to the beautiful Lake Geneva. The University of Geneva and Tsinghua University can join forces, pooling our knowledge, expertise, and resources to promote health for all and to make a fairer, greener, and healthier world for humanity. This is a big call for our young people to take the lead to address these global challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to reflect on Tsinghua University's motto. In Chinese, we say, 技强不息，吼的在无, which can be translated as self-discipline and social commitment. I firmly believe that it is our two young people, the two universities' young people's, their privilege, and it is their duty to confront these challenges. The path may be arduous, but armed with determination and unity, there is no summit we cannot reach. Indeed, the magnitude of the challenges we face can be huge, yet I urge the young generation to embrace optimism. Now, this is Latin. Allow me to say Latin, okay? Post tenebris lux. What does that mean? The motto of the University of Geneva, meaning after darkness, light. And this was the guiding light that John Calvin, more than 500 years ago. Today, it illuminates the path for the University of Geneva. Don't give up hope. After confronting challenges, try to find solutions, find hope and progress. Together, our university's collaboration can be a beacon of light that dispels the shadows of uncertainty and despair. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Margaret, for your inspirational talk. We could have hear you one more hour, but when we prepared this conference, this public conference, Margaret told me, no, I cannot speak for 1 hour and a half. They will all sleep. No, definitely not. But we decided together that she wanted to continue with a panel discussion with students. And I am happy to ask 3 students to come on stage. 2 from Tsinghua University, who are in mobility in Geneva today. So Tingkai Tsang, please come on. And also Yujia Liu, please come on. And 1 student from the University of Geneva who works with Tsinghua University, Keiling Marcus, please come on stage. And the debate will be moderated by the famous and fabulous Ilona Kickbush. Please, you will talk our common challenges in global health. Now.
Ilona, don't ask me difficult questions.
The students will ask you the questions. So first of all, good evening to all of you. Good evening to the students here, and of course a wonderful welcome to Margaret. It's so wonderful to see you again. And you actually, when you were Director General, put me on a path that I never thought I would end up in. I came out of health promotion and suddenly I ended up with pandemics. And to this day, I am with the Global Preparedness Monitoring Board, and you asked me to help evaluate WHO's response to Ebola at the time. I was with a really fascinating committee of fantastic people. And so you also set me on a path, as I'm sure you have done with so many other people. Your presentation also showed us this enormous span of what we have to deal with in global health. You know, all the planetary and One Health issues, the climate issues, but also, and this of course has also been so much in the center of your work as Director General, the issue of equity and the issue of vulnerability and the need for a fairer world, a world that also really works together. And at present, with all the conflicts and the tensions, that seems an even greater challenge than perhaps it was 10 years ago. And if we look forward, new tensions can emerge. But so when I pre-discussed with the students here, we said, well, we are very sure that Dr. Chan will speak about equity, will speak about universal health coverage, and will speak about a fairer world. And so in preparation, we suggested that each of the students describes in a few words in what way they, in their work, in their research, were, in quotes, confronted with issues of vulnerability. And all of them have worked with such populations in different parts of the world. Kailing within China, the other 2 colleagues in sub-Saharan Africa and other places. And also in the Mekong region, for example, Yujia has worked on that. So if I can turn to you, maybe we start with you, Yujia, to say a little bit of the vulnerability that you experienced in terms of the malaria prevention, the groups that were confronted, and how that relates to what Dr. Chan has spoken to us about. Because obviously malaria is also integrated into so many environmental issues, but also so many equity issues. So just share with us some of the key things that and lessons that you learned from that research and how it sets you on the path in global health. You have a mic over there.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Yoja, and I'm from Tsinghua University. So I want to share with you guys a story this summer that I went to Cambodia to do this malaria research. And I worked in an organization called Malaria Consortium, and I did some field work there and some literature review. And the one thing that impressed me really most is I go to those mountains, the border areas of malaria, to deliver this malaria services to the mountains, to people who live in the mountains. This is a really important experience for me because that's the first time I realized how field work matters. I remember we go there and we see this big mountain and there's only one family living in this whole mountain. And it's really impressive that they're kind of isolated from modern world. They're all big family. They go to the mountain to collect mushrooms, to hunt during day, and then they go back to this wooden house to sleep. So so I had questions like, what if they get sick? And then the answer I got was they will go to a nearby health center only if they're severely sick. So when they get sick, like catch a cold or something, they don't do anything about it. So the nearby health center is around 1 hour and 40 minutes motorbike drive from the place they live. So this is a really important thing because I think the key part is they're now actually actively reaching out to people. So it's the same difficult for us to reach out to them. This is about the group that I think is kind of vulnerable because they live in this remote area which has less healthcare, access to healthcare. And also, in Cambodia context, there's a lot of immigration along the border, so people are moving a lot. So my thought I'm having is that because we always talk about this access to healthcare, and it seems like it's a big issue, and it seems like it's something that only local governments could work on, because it's sometimes related to the big capacity of healthcare in this country. So what can we do, like from our side, what can we do to help this? And I think it's a good thing to focus about because this is really related to this topic, One Planet, One Health. And I think people living in remote areas are actually very vulnerable groups. So,
thank you for that. Margaret, would you like to respond? I told you the students will ask the questions.
These are smart kids.
Yeah. Will you give her the mic, please? Yes.
You're talking about access to healthcare. So, first and foremost, I pay tribute to all our healthcare workers who try their utmost to reach the last mile, right? In the health system, we call the workforce. So basically, we don't have enough people. So all these, what you have described in Cambodia, is actually happening in many countries. True or not, right? For those of us who work at the front line, realize how difficult it is to reach the last mile. Now, you talk about malaria. Well, it is a mosquito-borne disease. If you are a mosquito, you fly. It doesn't bother them. Whether it is in Cambodia or whether in China or in whatever. So that adds to the difficulty. So I don't have an answer for you, but you as a young people, you mentioned about local government. For these people to speak out, your duty is to teach them to speak out. Okay? Don't take things for granted. And of course, it's easier said than done, isn't it? Depends on where you are. If you're too loud, you'll be shut up. And this is the reality we live in. So, for the young people, don't give up hope. Can you imagine? I was DG in the MDGs, remember? The world is a better world now compared to the time when we are dealing with MDGs. So, continue to make the efforts. Don't give up. And remember, sustainable development. What does that mean? Development is for everyone, isn't it? It's, well, I better be careful. If you look at sustainable development, the foundation is you don't leave people behind, isn't it? Try to do that. It's easier said than done, isn't it? In reality, for those of us who work at the front line, well, I have stopped working at the front line now, but I still hear comments from the frontline workers. Things have not changed. In the COVID-19, if at all, it's worse. So, health equity, where is health equity? So, the world goes in cycles. There are good times and there are worse times. So, you being so young and passionate about health, I thank you. Keep it up.
Thank you, Margaret, and thank you for drawing attention also to the Sustainable Development Goals. And actually, the UNDP presented us with the data for the first time consecutively in 2 years. The Human Development Index has gone down. And actually, if we look at the 17 development goals, the Sustainable Development Goals, the one that has the weakest track record is universal health coverage, is equity in access. And that is definitely where we need a lot of that advocacy and also a lot of support to the healthcare workers, because many of the people who cover that last mile are the community health workers. And as you and I are very committed to, 70% of this workforce are women, and they have a lot to overcome, particularly when they are working with the remote communities. Just think of the polio workers, some of which have gotten attacked, some of which have got shot. It's extraordinary the courage that we see in healthcare workers, and particularly in those working in communities. Kai-Ling, you have worked with vulnerable communities as well, with internal migration and their access to healthcare. Would you share some of your experiences with us, what you've learned? What question comes out of that to Dr. Chan?
So hi, my name is Kai-Ling Marcus. I am the student from University of Geneva, but my doctoral project is also done in collaboration with Vanke School of Public Health for the research on the internal migrants of China. Now, just to let me start off, I really truly concur with what you say about the symbiotic relationship between One Health and universal health coverage. Because if we look at what One Health does, the first thing, I think the very foundation of it is to detect. Because if you don't detect, you cannot prevent and you cannot put anything measurable. And so to detect, you need to have that coverage for everybody. And so as Professor Kickbush has said, I also work a lot with migrants. So as an interpreter at the Geneva Red Cross, I work every single day with Chinese migrants. And when I'm looking at the data that we've obtained from the Chinese Dynamic Migrant Survey, we found with Vanke School of Public Health that the coverage, mandatory coverage that should be in place for every single urban employee of China, the coverage rate for this internal migrant population is only up to about 40%. And most of which the beneficiaries are of those who of the higher education levels. And when I say higher education, I'm talking about those who have attained university and above. And what this indicates to me is a great reflection of everything that I am seeing right here as I interpret for the illiterate migrants right here in Geneva, the very heart of global health, where people have a hard time signing their own name for a treatment agreement. So this is my question to you, is that as an epidemiologist, I love just sitting there crunching my numbers and say, yay, I got my odds ratio, I did a really great job and I calculated my prevalence. But when I'm looking at the data, I'm thinking what this means to me is something that should be done, that can be done for people to be aware of their rights, for people to be able to speak out. Like what you said, they have to be able to not keep their silence, not to forego or to delay the healthcare whenever it's needed. And this is the question that I've been asking for about a year now as I'm staring at my data set. What can we do?
Ilona and I, we work on education together. The most important thing is to educate girls. Well, men in the audience, don't get jealous, okay? The world we live in is unfortunate for women. We must understand people. There is no better way for people to articulate what their needs are and to even sign their names. So, education, education, and education. I'm a health person, but for those of you who know me, I was a teacher. I was a teacher a long time ago. I believe in education. And this is the time, why did I, after retirement from WHO, I can shake my legs and enjoy retirement and had 3 coffees in the morning? I did not. Because why? When the Tsinghua University approached me, I said, tell me what is your idea about setting up a school of public health. In Chinese, we say, I want to know your original intention. 你的初心是什么? After talking to them for less than 2 hours, I said, yes, let's do it. Have I worked in the university all my life? No, 0. But it is a commitment I make for myself to return to my original roots of education. I was a teacher, and so after all these years, I had a wonderful opportunity nowadays in the university to, well, these 2 are my MPH students. I'm so proud of them. Thank you. So, education, education, and education, but don't forget girls. Okay.
Thank you, Margaret. And this was, of course, something that was always at the forefront of our mind in making sure that element of equity is always taken into account, which actually leads us to Ting Kai, because his work has also been very much in the area of maternal and child health. So Ting Kai, if you share with us some of your work, the question that has emerged from it, and the question that you'd like to pose to Dr. Chan in relation to that.
Yes, sure. So I'm Ting Kai from Vanguard School of Public Health at Tsinghua. And basically, I used to work on maternal and child health. And one of the focus is actually on armed conflict, which is nowadays just happening in the world. And yesterday I checked on a data set, which is very famous, Uppsala conflict data set, because I want to know how many people died because of conflict last year. And I found the number is more than 230,000, and it is said that it's the worst year after 1994, which at that year you can know the Rwanda genocide happened. So it was really shocked me, and my previous research found that based on the sub-Saharan Africa, and we found that actually the humanitarian aid really play a critical role to fight with the effect of armed conflict. It really had an impact because after the conflict happened, at that area, the humanitarian assistance comes and provide services. But actually, we also found that it's not enough, especially at those areas which may be remote, but also that without that severe conflict, which means all the humanitarians, they all just pay attention to those regions which have really severe conflict. But we should notice that the impact of conflict will expand. And actually, I also experienced the same thing because I was at Senegal this summer. And Senegal actually is quite stable compared to other countries at that region. But what I saw is there are many children on the road, they are homeless, but they were sent by their parents to Senegal. Why? Because their parents from nearby countries believe that Senegal is stable than where they live. So they just send their children. They don't know the destiny of their children, but they believe that their children deserve a better life. They just send there, but their children can just ask for money. Every day I walk on the street, they ask me for money, and I don't know how to do it. So and I also found that maybe, as you just said before, like the climate change will even make all the conflict worse. At that region, I also note that at the Sahel region, they are seasonal dry, and at that seasonal dry, there's very severe food insecurity, and it will mix with the conflict, which leads to a very terrible influence on people who live there. So my question is, despite all the humanitarian assistance we have now, is there any solution? Can we build build a resilience system of this, the reaction system to the conflict may now happening or may happen in the future? Is it a important solution to this problem?
Ilona and I have been in this field for how many years? Oh, let me speak for myself. I've been in this field for a long, long time. What leaders promise us, we need to ask them to walk their talk. Unfortunately, people promise, but people don't deliver. This is welcome to the real world. Now you describe, Africa, but this is not unique to Africa. It is in Southeast Asia, in other parts of the world, in Middle East. So, what I see, we are in a very, very troubled world. But each one of us has a voice. You use your voice, in the system that you know well, to advocate. But this is what I say. We are waiting for the days where people, especially leaders of the countries, walk their talk. When I was in WHO, to be frank with you, there's a lot of negotiation. There's a lot of resolution. You think countries keep their promises? They don't. Now, I don't want to delve into the difficulties. So, for young people, what is the world for you? Think of the world that you live in. How old are you now? 24. You're only 24. In 10 years' time, where will you be? In 20 years' time, where will you be? So don't give up hope. As I said, I don't translate the Latin too well. But John Calvin said it very clearly. After darkness, there is light. Young people, I can only advocate. Young people, we always say that young people is our future. Do we mean it? That's why you need to take the world. I said that this is your responsibility to tell us what to do instead of listening to us. Okay? Well, sometimes we are right, but oftentimes we are wrong too. So, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you, but you ask so searching question, isn't it?
Well, absolutely. And of course, those questions emerge nearly with every generation. And your point, Margaret, about the importance of voice and keeping at the issue is absolutely critical. And if I take my own example, I was part, when I was young, of the women's health movement and the feminist movement. And we pushed and pushed and pushed. And one day I suddenly woke up here in Geneva at the Graduate Institute and I said, where am I? I'm still the only woman on a panel. And then, after 30 years, I had to pick up the whole issue again. But what happened? A new generation picked it up, created Women in Global Health, started to measure things, started to work with women all around the world, and are now an incredibly important voice of totally new generations of women of taking this agenda forward. So I think, there's these two sides that it's so important for young people to speak up. And obviously you're not the future, you're the present. And one of the great things one is seeing in many organizations, in many conferences, that young people, like here, are invited to the panel, that their voice is heard. WHO now has a youth council. Well, actually, to some extent, you can't even organize a conference anymore without putting young people on the panel, which, was first, put women on the panel, now put young people on the panel, ensure diversity, put in our part of the world the Global South on the panel, because their voice has to be heard. And it's not for us to tell them what to do. It's more and more them saying, what do we want from you as equal partners? And so I think that continuous force of change is something so important, and where your voice really, really counts. So maybe let's hear from you. Margaret asked the question, where do you want to be in 10 years' time? Who will start? Kylene, where do you want to be? Here you are.
Thank you. I want to be speaking for migrants, migrant health. I want to be speaking for people,
I will make this short, I promise. But what Tin Kai had just said earlier on made me think of the study that we've done in Cambodia, where we have the remote tribes where we lived with the tribe along Amazonas called Ticuna, who are so remote that they have to rely on shamans for waterborne diseases, and they're seeing all of the bacteria and all the viruses coming up from the water, the riverbeds, because of the climate change and the seasonality of all of the waterborne diseases are getting shorter and shorter and shorter before they are safe. So yeah, this is where I want to be. I want to be able to speak for them.
Okay, very good.
Here you can maybe pass it.
Where do you want to be in 10 years' time?
I don't know.
That's actually a correct answer, isn't it? One of the answers, right?
Well, not done yet. I think one of my plans is to trying to pursue my doctorate degree.
Okay, that's
Yes.
correct.
And after that, I think I want to work in an international organization, hopefully, and then go back to China to do some work. That's my plan so far. But there's also something that, I'm pretty old now, not too old, but it's like, is it really necessary to spend 3 years on the doctorate degree if I don't know if I could call myself passionate, but I'm interested, but not sure if I'm passionate enough. But yeah, this is my plan. Right.
Well, it is better to have a plan than have no plan, isn't it? Your plan will be fulfilled, I wish. Sometimes your plan is just a plan, it's a piece of paper. So the reality is, you need to be able to make adjustment as you move along. So I pose a very important question, not just to you, also to my professors. I keep asking them, where do you want to be in 10 years' time? And of course, you need to take into account the context, meaning the country you are in, the situation you are in, and work. Okay, so for the PhD degree, I don't know. The university has a requirement, so I cannot shorten it for you, right? So let's work on that, okay?
Okay, so in 10 years, honestly, I don't really know where I would be. But after Kailing's answer, I think I may want to, during the 10 years, I may want to keep seeing the world, even though it might be not a real good word now. Because Kailing reminds me, I have a friend now living in the North Myanmar, and actually he sent me a message that, because we know that there are a very severe conflict at Myanmar North, and he told me that maybe he really need to find some help about the migrations and refugees, because if the conflict keep on getting worse, he really needs to think of himself and his family, where they gonna go. And it also reminds me that I have a conversation with a Senegalese young boy. We sit on the beach, but he was talking, we use the translator actually, because my French is not that good and he cannot speak English. But he talked about his wish. He is willing to find a job because, there's not many job opportunities. So, and he also wants to fly to Canada actually, because he thought maybe in Canada if there's more job opportunities for him. So I know a lot of people when I'm doing my researches around the world, attending all the conferences, Actually, to be honest, I don't know how to help them, or do they need my help, or somebody should take responsibility for them. But I want to keep on saying and feel the word, and if I can help, it would be the best thing.
How old did you say you were? You were 24. I think that is important, you know. Go and see the world, okay? Make connections with people. It doesn't matter. Diversity is the name of the game, okay? Make connection with people, try to understand people, and see whether you can help, okay? Don't overpromise and underperform, huh? This is what we see, you know, unfortunately. So I hope a good future for all three of you. You are really the... Anton, Professor Anton, you are amazing to bring the university's students here to share with us their stories. I want to thank you. So don't give up.
So thank you for that to the three of you, and also for being so open and willing to share your experiences, but also to some extent your dreams. And I think that's definitely one thing, even though I must say it's important at all points in life to have your dreams. And don't think that, you know, once you're 35 or 45 or 55, you should give up on your dreams, because there's always something to take forward. And therefore also, if we go back to the One Health and planetary health thing, I often say when we are discussing with students, don't think it's, you know, this is only your future, because it's our future as well. If I live another 10 years, you know, I want to help. On the one hand, ensuring a better environment, but I also jolly well, you know, want to live in a world that still exists. And I want my son to have a better future. So I think this notion that we had a little bit on this panel is also that intergenerational working together, where we can, you know, be of guidance to some extent based on our experience and our dreams, but also then to learn from you and to have that exchange, that really the generations do work together, because also that's a new historical situation, that we can actually also do that without strong levels of authority, and but really in a sense of partnership. And I think that's where universities also play a tremendous role. So let me ask you about 10 years from now, where would you, Margaret, I'll say, want the Vanke School to be?
Okay, that is a very good question. Ilona didn't know that I'm 76.
I do.
You do?
I do.
So in 10 years' time, I will be 86. I hope I would still be around. Okay? I was reminded by an ambassador who was responsible, partly responsible for me being in WHO. He was sending me a message to say that, hey, watch out for your health, huh? We are almost 80. So, you know why he said that to me? Unfortunately, I was sick for almost 1 week, or more than a week, because, you know, the weather in Beijing is so cold. So it is a dream to come back to Geneva, to feel the, you know, the moisture and the rain. So I don't mind the rain. So 10 years' time, I would certainly stay in Vanke School. That's my dream.
Thank you, Margaret. We have some other students and young people in the room here, and I want to give you the opportunity to say something. I would really ask people above 30 not to raise their hand. I can't really, be able to totally judge your age from here, but I see there's a first young person there. Yes, I can see you're young. Perfect. Please, go ahead.
Yes, my name is Manchri Sangmuang. I'm actually a pharmacy student from Thailand. I'm currently serving as a chairperson of the Asia Pacific for International Pharmaceutical Student Federation. But I'm very thankful for the panel discussion, but I'm here to give a statement. I want that in the future, all of us do not need to pack our bag, a life, a dream, the ego, the passion and pride to move to another country because it's a better health and a better place for you to live. Healthy life should be a human right that happens in your own country. I had to move because I got married. I'm so sorry. That's another story. But what I'm saying is that, I'm from Thailand, a country with passion, with so much resources and so much power and opportunity. We have 70 million people that are trying to get out just because it's not a good place to live because of so many things. Difficulties, like Dr. Margaret said. What I'm saying is that in 10 years' time, I hope none of us has to pack our bags, move, because the home is not the place where we cannot be. But I want us to be the place where One Health is shared among the global, around the global place, where we share care and we share language. And I hope that in 10 years' time, I can go back to Thailand and bring my husband with me. As well as my son is living in Thailand healthily. I do not need to worry whether we are going to survive just because it's not the safe place. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. Is there a young person on this side of the room? Yes, okay. We'll bring the mic.
It's interesting to me, why women all the time?
Good.
Thank you so much for the very inspiring panel discussion. And I believe I have seen the future of global health, women in global health, young generation in global health. And this is very inspiring to me. Oh, by the way, I'm Jia Yang from the Graduate Institute. And so I just want to say thank you. This is a very inspiring message to me as a student, as a woman, as someone who's about to devote possibly my life to global health in the future. And thank you, everyone, for witnessing this with me. This is an amazing evening to me.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
One more. We have time for one more statement. Who would like to speak up? One of the young men of the future? We want these new men. Any new man around? Can't be.
In the old days, it's women who shine. But nowadays, why men are shy? Come on.
Did you find one? Yes.
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 Well, first of all, my name is Théophile. I'm doing my research at the University of Geneva in science, so medical science, but I'm a computer scientist. So you mentioned malaria earlier, and my question is about malaria, actually. I was very impressed by the work that have been done to create the vaccine for COVID. And I wonder why it's so difficult to find a vaccine for malaria. That's my question to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Margaret.
Malaria is different. And you are right in saying that, in fact, WHO, by the time just before I left, so I didn't have a chance to ask Dr. Tedros about the progress. But malaria is a very difficult vaccine to develop. But GSK, at the time when I'm not supposed to be advertising for them, but anyways, There was one vaccine developed by a certain company, you know the name, and at that time, when I was Director General, I think it was good, but can be better. So we recommended further research. Now, don't forget, you know, malaria is transmitted by mosquito. So to have a vaccine to target at the mosquito, which I tell you, they are so smart. They are so smart. So we need to learn from the mosquito. But talking about Africa, you must be from Africa, right? Okay. The other important disease that we've been working on is HIV. And 30 years down the road, we don't have a vaccine. But that is not to say the world has not learned from the, I shouldn't use the term failure, from the setback or whatever, from the HIV vaccine, but there are so many other lessons that we can learn. And another disease that is also important is TB. As we are speaking, the world still has far too many people suffering from a disease which we call tuberculosis. And my heart goes to Africa. And if you remember, one of my first commitment as a DG is the health of the African people and the health of women. So that's, to me, is a benchmark. If Africa is much better, that means the whole world is much better. So let's work hard on that. And today, I met with Dr. Tedros. I pledge to be very supportive of WHO, and I hope to be able to come back next year. But I'm not going to tell you when.
Okay, so a big thank you to Margaret, a big thank you to the students, and for last words, Antoine, please.
So thank you, all of you. Thank you for this inspirational panel you gave tonight. Thank you, all the participants, also, for your participation. Of course, I cannot give any conclusion. I just want to remind you some quotes of this evening. The first one is, Geneva is a place I call home for 15 years. You also said, Margaret, that climate change is a silent enemy which destroys our cities and our societies. You mentioned Antonio Guterres, and you said that the era of global warming has ended, the era of global boiling has come. You also said diseases do not recognize boundaries. You said, and it was also mentioned by our students here, One Health is an approach to help, to prevent, to predict, to detect disease. Every wounded person should be treated with humanity, quoting Henri Dunant. Yes, you said that universal health empathy resonates with universal health coverage. You reminded us one of our responsibility. Geneva is the capital of global health. You said in Chinese, with a translation, about self-discipline and social commitment. And you say that from Jean Calvin, after darkness, lights. So I just want to end this evening with quotes from our students. I want to be the voice of migrants. We want to be the voice for migrants. And you say, I want to go and see the world. So please, you can now go and see the world. Thank you for your attention. Thank you for your participation. Thank you, Margaret, Ilona, and my dear colleagues and friends and students for this wonderful evening. Good night.